Introducing Mr. Smelly's fragrance reviews with the international leader of the worldwide fragrance community, Mr. Smelly 1977.
Me when I stagger onto an aeroplane and the flight attendant asks me if I'm drunk.
Yes, I am, very.
Me when my ex-wife confronted me for having an affair with her sister.
Am I not entitled to do what I want with my own body? I think I am.
Me when the person in Starbucks asked me if I'd like a cookie or a pastry with my coffee.
I wondered when you'd get round to that one.
Me seeing that Jeremy Fragrance's latest video got 10 times more views than mine.
Unfortunately, the majority of the public, being the senile animals that they are, got that wrong. Too bad. All they want is an image, something flash.
Me when a friend offers me constructive criticism.
I don't give a what you think.
The audience watching a Curly Fragrance and Miss Fresh video.
They really turn us on.
Me when my wife and kids came home to find me wearing stockings and high heels and dancing in front of a mirror to the Pet Shop Boys.
I don't have to explain myself to anybody and I ain't gonna really bother.
Me when a policeman pulls my car over and asks me if I've been drinking.
Who do you think you're talking to? Never mind. I just have the wonderful position in life that I choose to do what I want to do and nobody tells me what to do.
My dad after I introduced him to my ex-wife for the first time.
Get out of here, you po-faced pillock, and take this disgusting trollop with you. Go on, bugger off.
Hi guys, welcome back to the show. So today we're going to do top 10 sexy mature men's fragrances for autumn or something like that, I think. Mature fragrances for the autumn or fall season, and I guess they're sexy too, I've got to say that. These are going to be fougere, no they're not, these are going to be non-fougere fragrances. So I deliberately didn't pick any fougères, and they all have, you know, there's some freshness involved, but they've got this kind of depth and maybe a bit of spiciness and stuff that makes them really good for this time of the year. So I hope you're going to enjoy the video. I put sexy in the title there because maybe it helps get people engaged and get some more views. You know guys, I'm not going to do anything inappropriate in this video. You know, it would be ridiculous for me to say that these fragrances will attract women like iron filings to a magnet. And it would be crude and crass if I said that every MILF and cougar in the area will be swarming around you like wasps around a jam jar on an August day. That would be crass. And of course, I definitely wasn't going to start the video with a clip like this.
Dance! Dance for me! Dance for your daddy all night!
That would be appalling. Okay, guys, let's get stuck into it. So yeah, top 10 sexy fragrances for autumn. Before we do that, just one quick thing. Scent Explore 2021. The early bird deal that's running now ends on Wednesday. There's a link in the description. Please use that link to sign up because they'll know you came from me. And if you do that before Wednesday, then there's a load of giveaways and special stuff that you won't be able to get after that. So it's really important. Follow the link. It's going to be a great event. I'm there, the leader of the international community of the fragrance world. It must be a huge honor for them to have me. I imagine there are some other people coming too, but you know, it's going to be exciting. A great event. I hope to see you there. It's in December this year. Let's get into the video. Here we go. Okay, here we go, guys. Well, disgraceful behavior first as I plug my own product, but I got to be honest with you. Bon Vivant makes a superb fragrance for a mature man, a man of any age, but there is a grown-up, classy vibe about this fragrance.
Wow. Wow. Okay. This is stunning.
Because I think it smells fantastic. It's a perfect signature scent. Oh, I sprayed some on my hand. It stays in the room too. Like I sprayed it in my bathroom and then like hours later I would go in there and the whole bathroom still smelled like this. So
the theme is non-fougères. Our other one, Gravitas, is a fougère, but this one is essentially a citrus fragrance, but it's really so much more. The nose behind it, of course, is the wonderful English perfumer, John Stephen, and your notes are lemongrass, bay leaf, basil, lemon, lime, orange, and mandarin orange. Middle notes are clove, gin, pepper, watermelon, and in the base we have patchouli, Haitian vetiver, that's my favourite kind of vetiver, with cedar and oak moss. We've had great reviews and there's a link in the description to buy that at nortonandwilson.com. Let's move on then. Next up then, another really high class niche fragrance, and this is one of the most expensive ones in the list. It's Scandal Pour Homme from Roja Parfums. So Roja Scandal is a really tremendous fragrance. I'm a huge fan of this scent. Released in 2011, some are calling it an aromatic fougere, but I think it's a citrus. It doesn't really smell like an aromatic fougere to me, although Fragrantica classes it as such. The nose is Roja himself, and your top notes lemon and lavender, bergamot, petitgrain, tarragon, basil and mint, and in the mid you got lily of the valley, jasmine, May rose, that's my favourite type of rose, violet, and base notes are oak moss, ambergris, musk vetiver, cardamom cloves, tonka bean, patchouli, cedar, nutmeg, cashmere wood, sandalwood, rhubarb, and labdanum. So this one is a really beautiful citrus, fresh, gentlemanly scent. Some people compare it to vintage Dior Eau Sauvage, which is of course a citrus aromatic scent, and that's a pretty good comparison. It's got real class about the fragrance, really beautiful crisp citrus opening, a lovely smooth floral mid with a little bit of a jasmine note in there, and this masculine refined woody base lasts for ages. Great performance. I've got the Parfum version here, and I recommend if you can stretch the splash out for this one, is probably the one to go for. Roja Scandal Pour Homme. It's the only Roja I own, and it's really good. So from something rather pricey to something much less so. Next up, we've got Le Troisium Homme from the House of Caron. First launched in 1985. This is a stunning woody aromatic type fragrance. The perfumers were Akiko Kamei and Francois Caron, and your top notes for this one: lavender, Amalfi, lemon, bergamot, anise, and rosemary. In the mid, you got coriander, carnation, jasmine, geranium and rose, and in the base we have oak moss, vetiver, vanilla, tonka bean, cedar, patchouli and musk. Missing from that note listing is clove, and I think there's a pronounced clove note in this one. It's a lovely woody spicy type fragrance, very crisp and green in the opening, a citrusy opening, a lot of greenness with this one, but also definite warmth and spiciness in the base, very rich. It sort of puts me a little bit in mind, well, with a passing similarity, let's say, to Creed's Bois de Portugal in the feel, but by no means a very similar fragrance. It's really classy, rich, woody stuff, old school vibe, but doesn't smell dated. Nothing funky or animalic, just pure class in a bottle. A Troisième Homme from Caron, a real upscale French man's fragrance in the real powerhouse 80s, but powerhouse with pure refinement and class running right through the backbone of the fragrance. Check that out, and it's reasonably priced, sort of £50-ish. We're going to throw in just a quickie here actually. Terre d'Hermès is actually worth mentioning. I was sort of going for some less well-known fragrances here, but Terre d'Hermès, this kind of dirty, earthy orange thing on this one is stunning. Jean-Claude Eleanor, I think it was 2006. You know what, I sometimes forget about it and don't talk about it because it's, it's just so well known, but it is a stunning fragrance. It's got this mature, grown-up vibe, nothing dated. And yeah, hugely influential fragrance. One of the great releases really of our century, I think. If you'd like to see an extra video from me every week, sign up to my Patreon group. It's only $2 a month. There's a link in the description, and we have loads of interesting stuff going on there. I do a lot of fragrance stuff, of course, but I also talk about some other things to do with my life. It's really fun, and I hope to see you in there. As I say, you can follow the link in the description, or just go to Patreon and type in Mr. Smelly 1977. Next up then, something completely different. This is Mousse Illuminée, or Illumini, and this is from the House of Rogue Perfumery, Rogue, and the man here doing the fragrances is Manuel Cross, and he does not comply to IFRA regulations. Good for him. Your notes are tree moss, frankincense, green cypress, artemisia, laurel leaves, cedar, white floral notes, and white musk. So he said that he set out to create an 80s powerhouse style fragrance, and he really succeeded. It's like if you buy these old powerhouse green fragrances like Polo Green and you get a bottle from the 80s, they smell amazing if you're lucky, but sometimes they may have lost some of their top notes or whatever. And this one is like if you'd bought one back in 1983 or whenever, and it was fresh out of the bottle. All the notes are there, all fresh, very green, very piney, complex to the little twist of frankincense. Gives it a little bit of a kind of modern twist of niche sensibility. It's absolutely magnificent, and I can't recommend this one highly enough. I need to try out what's it called? Bon Monsieur from them. Next up then, guys, you must not forget the best Egoist, the best Chanel fragrance, arguably, in the men's range. It's a tough one to call, but yeah, Egoist has a strong claim for that title. 1990 release, and it was Jacques Polge, of course, a perfumer. In this one, you got Brazilian rosewood, coriander, mahogany, Sicilian mandarin, which is my very favourite type of mandarin, cinnamon, damask rose, you've guessed it, the only type of rose I care for, carnation, and base notes are sandalwood, tobacco, vanilla, leather, and amber. So this one has a really, really nice opening. There is a little bit of citrus in there, like the mandarin thing. Some people have said tangerine too. Key feature on this one is one of the best sandalwood notes in any modern designer fragrance, or any fragrance full stop. Wonderful sandalwood with a little hint of rose and some florals in the mid, and a sweetness in the base, which is mixed with a slightly spicy edge as well. Very grown up, very refined, not at all a fougere. So this is sort of great masculine grown up fragrances that are not fougères, is the theme of the list, and this one, a wonderful, wonderful scent masterpiece. Next up, we have Jules from Dior. The 2016 re-release of the original 1981, and it's amazing kind of green woody aromatic fragrance. It's got notes of galbanum and herbal notes mixed with cyclamen, hedione, black pepper, and base notes of fir, leather, and cedar. Again, it's kind of green. It's got a powerhouse feel. Some people say it's sort of the nearest thing from Dior to things like, let's say, Coros from Yves Saint Laurent. That actually came out a year later. It does have that real powerhouse masculine feel, but it's a little zestier to me, a little brighter and greener than Coros, and lacks some of the animalic funk in the base. It's very, very refined, very, very grown up, definitely an 80s vibe, but oh wow, I really need to talk about and wear this fragrance more. It is an absolute 10 out of 10 stunner, and I find sometimes you can't find it that easily online, but if you can, they never have it in the stores for some reason where I am, but if you find this one online for anything like a reasonable price, Dior's Jules, one of the most gentlemanly refined, classy fragrances. Not every other Tom, Dick and Harry will be wearing it. Why on earth would you wear Sauvage when you can wear this? Grown up, refined, class in a bottle. Let's see what we've got next on the list today. We are going to go with the legendary Polo from Ralph Lauren. If you really want to be brave, then this is a great, great choice, I say, still today. If you can pick up an old bottle, the Cosmere reformulation from the 1980s and 90s, that is well worth seeking out. So Polo Green first came out way back in 1978, and it really is a stunning fragrance. The perfumer, Carlos Benaim, and it was really regarded as a scent of success in the 1980s. The alpha males, or whatever an alpha male is, were often wearing this. At a time when you didn't have so many millions of different fragrances to choose from, this was a really popular choice. A woody chic scent, and your nose, as I said, it's Carlos Benaim. Notes of juniper berries, artemisia, caraway, basil, coriander, and bergamot. Middle notes of pine tree needles, lovely, leather, chamomile, pepper, carnation, geranium, jasmine, and rose. And your base notes are tobacco, oak moss, patchouli, cedar, vetiver, musk, and amber. True masculinity in a bottle. A rugged man's fragrance. A fragrance, and if you have some guts and balls about you, you can pull this thing off. I'm telling you guys, it's really mature, grown-up stuff. Get the old Cosmere if you at all possibly can. There's, if the eBay picture has the label on the bottom, that's how you tell. The modern version's still worth having if you can't get this. By the way, Mousse Illumia in a earlier mentioned, good alternative to this one. Next up then, Je suis un homme. I love this stuff. It's themed after Napoleon Bonaparte, who was a true man of history, of a man of power, a man's man. Let's find out what the blurb says about this one, because I think it's quite interesting. So, Je suis un homme. Etat libre d'orange is the fragrance house behind this one. Here's what they say: a warrior's scent for those who take the offensive in life's battles. A fragrance for the fighter, inspired by the figure of the great Napoleon Bonaparte and his liberal use of the colognes he adored, and which fortified him for battle and for love. Je suis un homme features the classic cologne oils of bergamot, orange, lemon, cinnamon, leather, and patchouli. Further stimulus and testosterone are provided by notes of cognac, musk, and animal accords. Antoine Lee, perfumer. Love that description. I can't add much. The leather, the hint of a boozy cognac note, and the overall exquisite blending of some of the fresh notes with spices and patchouli make this a stunning, stunning fragrance. A little bit of the 80s powerhouse vibe, but with a modern niche garb kind of overarching that. I think it's an absolute beaut and an under the radar, grown up, manly. I mean, the name tells you, Je suis un homme. I am a man, and you sure will be when you wear that. Okay, I'm going to go with my all-time favourite fragrance next, Bois de Portugal. It's the House of Creed. 87 release, reputedly Frank Sinatra's signature scent. How do we know that? Do we believe that? I don't know. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. The fragrance is just... it's everything I've ever dreamt of in a perfume, and so much more. The nose, of course, Olivier Creed officially. Notes are bergamot, lavender, sandalwood, cedar, vetiver and ambergris. It's kind of simple. Dusty, woody bookshelves spring to mind. A woolen suit that's about 40 years old. I think of the smell of that. I know something reminds me of that. Lavender is pretty prominent. You've got beautiful woody tones in the base, a dank, bitter greenness about this one, and a sense of absolute maturity and class. It's one of the finest fragrances ever made. Please try this if you haven't already. Next up, it's got to be one of my all-time favourites, Boucheron Pour Homme. Boucheron Pour Homme, 1991 release. This is absolutely stunning. It's kind of a citrusy green fragrance. It does smell a bit fougere-like, but it doesn't seem to be officially classed as one. Therefore, I can get away with putting it in the list. You can get this for about £30 or something. It's outrageous. Go for the eau de parfum, if at all possible. I think it's worth splashing out the extra money for the eau de parfum version. Not much more than the eau de toilette, which I haven't actually tried, so actually pretty unfair of me to say you should go for that one, but I just think this has something so magical about it. They call it a citrus aromatic, but it's a very it's got a lot of richness for a citrus aromatic, so it's got a bit more to it than that. It has a kind of 80s feel. It's really high quality stuff. Perfumers apparently for this one were Francois Dillamont, Jean-Pierre Boutard and Raymond Chalian. Your notes are lemon verbena, bergamot, lavender, orange, basil, mandarin orange, rose, jasmine, carnation, ylang ylang, lily of the valley, orris root and oak moss, vetiver, incense, sandalwood, musk, benzoin, amber and tonka bean. Very rich and sort of green notes, bit of florals in the middle. Very complex French perfumery at its best. It's just pure class in a bottle. It's a signature scent for me. You can see how much I've got through. It's one of the best cheapies on the face of this earth. And a very manly smell. Very manly, no doubt about that. Now we got this one, Balenciaga Pour Homme. Sorry, this is the only one on the list that you can't get easily. Very much discontinued, very hard to find. An absolute powerhouse beast. First fragrance, I think, in the men's designer realm to use oud, but you don't pick up on any oud whatsoever. And it was a 1990 release, so it kind of smells more 80s than 90s, if you know what I mean. It's backward looking. Well, backward looking, but it's got enough oomph and magic of its own to not really be a tribute to anything that had gone before. It's remarkable stuff. Very hard to find. I love the bottle design. I love that the marbled effect on the cap there, and the whole feel of that. It's kind of a ceramic bottle. It's not plastic. It feels kind of nice, kind of high quality in a strange way, actually. Although it's a rather simple design. So let's just see what they say on Fragrantica about this one. Your perfumer, by the way, for this one was a gentleman called Gerard Anthony, and your notes are cinnamon, coriander, bergamot, laurels, cardamom, thyme, galbanum, pepper, patchouli, sandalwood, cedar, cypress, honey, oak moss, lavender, vanilla, musk. So a little bit of a funky animalic feel, actually. The musk and honey can smell a bit funky sometimes in a way in a fragrance too. On Fragrantica, some of the comparisons that they draw, people are saying things like Koros have some similarity. Let's take a little review. The most recent person to review it said it's a beautiful, masterfully blended composition. Warm, creamy and musky with a lick of oud rounding it off. Yeah, not a bad description. So let's see who else has said good things about this. Incredible masculine scent for a legend. For men and a legend that will ever remind me of the 80s and the start of the 90s. One of the best wood, spice, amber compositions of all time. Yes, manliness in a bottle, grown-up stuff, powerhouse fragrance. Takes a bit of guts to wear this one. Not everyone around you may get it, but who cares what they think. That is the end of my list, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thanks for joining me. I will see you guys in the next one. Remember, whatever you're doing in life, let's project. Bye-bye.
Bon viveur, le nouveau parfum pour homme par Norton et Wilson. Parce que la vie est faite pour être appréciée.